That way you don't have to do notes. First of all, Eva, welcome. I understand you're new to the county.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I am. Hello, everyone.
Congratulations. I'm Lil Dupree, as you can see. I am joined by my partner in crime.
I don't know.
It's like Zoom is backwards and, you know, Google Meet is this way. And it's like, too many interfaces. We like this because we can record. So, and then give you the recording. So the goal today is to help you understand what needs to happen in the county. I want to reassure you that we have time to get it fully tuned up, right? In order for the reporting to work next year against this CAP plan, the services and outcomes that are being recorded in EmpowOR have to match up with the CAP plan. The CAP plan tells the report what to look for in the data. And so it has to be fully correct, meaning not just the right programs, but the exact right services and the exact right outcomes. And that's not a big deal. I'm just suggesting that depending on how much work you guys in your setup need, it may be that we have to do some other work with you, right, in between, in addition to training. Okay, but the goal for now is just to get your CAP plan, get it complete, so that you stand a fighting chance of meeting that deadline next week, right? So I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to take a look at it, okay? So first, before we do this, has anybody gone in here and started working on it yet?
I tried.
So you went into 2023.
I went into 2023.
Okay, so it's already rolled forward. That's what I was going to ask, because if not, when I roll it forward, it copies up what was ever in the previous year. So we'll go from there.
Okay? So this is where I was very confused because I didn't really understand with the loading, with the loading outcomes and proceed. So I didn't know what was that capturing?
Right. What it's capturing and what you need to probably understand, although it's in the background, but it helps to understand that EmpowOR's data and the reporting for CSBG Reporter. CSBG Reporter is a different software. We are interfaced with that software and we work with you all to make that work. You guys don't have to deal with him. New Jersey says do it through EmpowOR, so you don't have to worry about calling somebody else, right? And then we have the contract with him. So what has to happen here is in your CAP plan, which is of course replacing the services page that you guys used to do, which is actually in the final effect, it's going to be great. But right now, it's a little bit, right, figuring it out. Okay?
Yeah.
So the blue bands here are the CSBG reporter programs. Basically the programs you've been reporting on, right, through there.
Okay.
In order for it to work, and I'm going to show you all the steps.
Okay.
You actually have to tie your program in EmpowOR to the program for reporter. It doesn't have to be the exact name, by the way. Doesn't matter. And the drop down will happen.
So this is where I'm just going to stop you really quickly.
Sure.
The way we submitted, and this might be part of the disconnect, the way that we submitted our services pages in the past were by the agency that we subcontract with. So the agency providing the service, that's the way our services pages are. I actually have, because I have the services page prepped to do in order to do this community action plan.
Awesome.
But my question is, so like there are multiple agencies providing the same service.
Okay.
So when we go to do like, so for food, for example, the agencies that provide food are Proceed and let's see, and Urban League. So when when we're in here, emergency, so we do emergency food, we click add. Then is there like a second step where we add in the agency, or are we just going off of the total number of people they're supposed to serve?
The latter. There is no way to differentiate in the CAP plan between direct service from the agency and the other, because CSBG reporting doesn't actually care which agency did it. It cares about the services and the outcomes, right? Now, that said, when you're sub-granting, there are challenges. That said, I'm repeating myself. I'm so sorry. It's Friday and I have been in meetings
It's okay.
literally since 9 a.m. I looked at yours last night. So yes, you're not going to designate the agency. May I make the assumption that they are entering data in EmpowOR? They have logins, they are trained.
Yeah, they're the people that put the data in.
Right.
We do the data quality component. So we check their vouch, because they're vouch. So the way that our process is, they submit, we have a subcontract with them. They are required to submit monthly vouchers to us. So in the monthly voucher, there's the voucher cover, the monthly expenditure report, but then there's a sheet, which is the monthly, it's basically the level of service that there's that. And then there's the EmpowOR spreadsheet. So not spreadsheet, but the EmpowOR, the client service tracking form. They submit this tracking form, and that tracking form is what we compare to their entries in EmpowOR and to the backup that they submit. So say they provided food and rental assistance to me and to all of us. We all four of us would be then listed, and just initials, because of privacy laws, initials, the service that we received, and then we would do that comparison of that form to EmpowOR to make sure.
Yeah, how do you know which initials belong to which people in EmpowOR? Like Lil Dupree, LD is going to be for Lillian, D'Agostino as well.
So what we'll do is if we tell them to do first, sometimes every agency does it different. Some agencies do full first name, last initial, because that's allowable. Or they do initials, first initial, last initial with 2 letters. So like say, imagine my name, I'm Lillian D'Augustine, you're Lillian Dupree. You would be in there as LDU on that form, and I would be in there as LDE.
Okay.
That's how.
That's helpful for me to know. It won't matter for this, for the CAP plan. I'm going to tell you that I think if you wanted to, sometime in the future, because we are backed up past July now with TA contracts, if at some point you wanted to look at how to streamline that with them and being in the system and being able to do that, because you can see all the information anyway.
Yeah.
So is the fact that they're doing first and last initial, is that because they're sending it to you via email and it's not secure?
Well, no, it's because we are not really supposed to, as a county, have client level data. So first name, last name, but we do. We have it because
just
of
going to
EmpowOR.
say there's no way not to have it.
Yeah.
And I know that is not the case for others because you're monitoring it, right? You have to be able to see it. So there would be some efficiencies that I think we could do for you, but it would involve getting past that first name, last initial, keeping track of stuff outside of EmpowOR. It's like, ooh, icky. We can make it do things for you.
Okay.
So let's think about it later.
Yes.
Later. I just want to put that thought in your head that I think there's many easier things to do. All right. So what you need to do, this button here, the load outcomes and proceed. This is essentially part of that handshake between the CAP plan, the data, and the reporting.
Okay.
And it doesn't want to let us go forward until what it already sees in the system is correct.
Okay.
And correct in the sense that everything that's appropriate is there. It doesn't know if you put the service of rent in the food program, it doesn't know that that's wrong, because if that's what you're tracking, that's what you're tracking, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you see, it just took us into the reporting, which it looks like you guys haven't reported on quarter one yet.
Quarter one of
This
2022.
year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no.
What a crime.
Is
No,
he
our-
Go ahead.
What a
There's
crime.
Issues? Let's just go that there are issues, and if
There are
you,
issues, which I can fill you in on more offline, but there are some issues. That's why we have not,
No, to the left.
there's nothing in EmpowOR for 2022.
okay,
Well, there is, but it's for the 2021 contract that was extended through 2022 for certain providers.
okay. Again, we would need to dive deeply into it. It would not be a small tune-up. I do know they're letting agencies use CARES money for that if they want to.
Yeah,
So I'm just throwing that out there. So this
Yeah.
is saying we have to map it before we can complete, and that's fine. All the programs need to be mapped because employment services is getting services and outcomes. That's why it's being hysterical that I see data and you don't have this in your CAP plan. You have to put it in the CAP plan.
okay.
So the key parts of the CAP plan for you guys to do. So this first band is the CSBG reporter program. Those names can be modified or we can
Okay.
add additional ones. But if the big buckets of service are these: emergency assistance, emergency shelter, employment, health, and housing. Is that in fact the 5 buckets that you want to report in?
So this is where like there's the whole question, are those the SRVs?
It's going to be whatever SRPs and NPIs we take.
Would you
Okay.
break them
It is
up?
that within your program setup, and this is where I'm like, oh, we need training because this is higher level administrator access stuff to be able to go check it. Okay, against the actual program set up in the system. So right now, emergency assistance. I'm just going to look at the other ones really quickly. Emergency shelter, no programs have been mapped. Emergency food, health supports, no map. Okay, well, we don't have anything to correct. I mean, that's actually really good. I made somebody had to do 3 hours worth of taking out the old bad stuff the other day. So you're ahead of the game.
So should we be in 2022 or 2023?
But it went back when I went in. So sorry.
It's
Same
okay.
principle. Yes, we should be, and thank you. And that is the first lesson when I do CAP plan training is, because when you go in and out like I did,
Mhm.
it'll in fact revert to the current year. Okay? But because it rolled it forward, we know that no EmpowOR programs, I'm just looking at that little red there, right? Employment, health supports. So try if you can
Okay.
to not think about your subgrantees, except that you're going to have to do some math to add up their different plans so that you get all the services and outcomes in. I don't know if you've maybe already done that in preparation.
Well, I have it kind of in the background.
And you can change this, right? To meet, I'm going to give you 2 things. One, how to do it to get it done.
Okay.
And you have enough time. It's not hard. Then later, we can fix it to match your actual programs and services and look at the data entry, and we can do, if you want us to, we
Okay.
can dive into that with you. I do know that the state won't pay for a full tune-up because it tends to run in the 20 to 30 hour range of help because we have to look at everything with you,
Okay.
right? But we can get you to the point that this works, and you can stop there if you want to.
Okay.
Okay, because we don't actively like market the tune-ups. People just ask. So in
Okay.
emergency assistance, we have to decide which of these programs,
Mhm.
okay, belong there. We also have already emergency shelter, employment, health, transition. So under emergency assistance,
Yes.
emergency food is pretty easy. I'm pretty sure that belongs there.
Yes.
And here's the thing, as long as it's in the CAP plan with the appropriate services and outcomes, it will report correctly regardless.
Okay.
Okay, this is for yours so the state can see that in emergency assistance, you're doing emergency food. Now, emergency shelter, the actual program here.
Yes,
Is that in fact like emergency rent assistance security, or is it only like running a shelter?
it's running a shelter.
Okay, so under the emergency programs, we would want to add rent assistance here.
Under emergency assistance. Okay. And then same thing with security deposit.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Okay.
And utilities as well.
And utilities as well.
Mhm.
Because that's for right now what we have. There's emergency assistance, like based on my services pages, we have emergency food, emergency rent, emergency security. But see, we have under emergency assistance on our services pages, we have temporary shelter, but that is for, but that's for a shelter. It's a shelter.
Right, and so we're going to put it under a different place.
Okay.
Okay. So if we've got, these are the 4 services, the programs rather, in EmpowOR. And in this case, they equate to services. That's not always the case, but these are the services, right?
Okay.
So the programs are now there. Excellent.
Yes.
Yay.
Yay.
Right? You guys have a community assessment. Yikes. Okay. So 1, you can clean up the needs by removing them here. And I would suggest that somebody do that because, oh boy, you don't need to look at that. Okay? In your community assessment, because we're shifting from the services pages, you're going to need to be more specific about the need, right? Emergency assistance is not a need, it's a program.
Yes.
The need is that, and I'm going to make this one up for you because I have pretty good confidence that I can get this one right.
Okay.
People are at risk of homelessness.
Oh, well, I can give you, I have the needs. So I
Right,
can
and you're
tell you
gonna-
like, yeah,
Okay.
families report food insecurity. That's what we say for food assistance. Families report food insecurity.
Right, and this one we're going to do all the way together as the example for you, and then you're
Okay.
going to do the rest. I'm going to get the programs in each one though, so you already have that.
Okay.
And before we hang up. All right.
Thank you.
Of course, that's what you need. We're happy to help. Okay. Now you would do another need because obviously food insecurity doesn't say why you're doing rent assistance. So it would be, tell me what the need is. Families report.
In order to avoid homelessness, families need to remain in their own residence.
That is true. In addition to being with EmpowOR, I've been in community action actually for 18 years.
Okay.
And I'm a CCAP and aroma trainer, and I worked at the agency level as well as national before I decided I like this best. So I'm just going to tell you that if I say I would shape that need a little differently as a Roma thing,
Okay.
I'm just offering you that, that thought. Okay.
So
Tell me
is
how
it
you
something
feel.
that
Tell
we
me
could
what you
say?
think. Families,
So really, it's to prevent eviction.
right.
rental
Families
assistance
are at
is-
risk of eviction.
Okay.
That is perfect. That is perfect, except that apparently I'm having keyboard issues.
I'm actually updating my services page to
Mhm.
to kind of go with what we're talking about. So then
Mhm.
for next year, not that we're going to need it, but or if something were to happen to me and I were to leave, we would have.
Something to do. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And families are at risk of utility shut off, right?
Yes. Yes.
That is perfect. You may have other needs, but that's great. That is saying why you're doing these programs. Now, and this is where eventually we would want to double check the EmpowOR programs themselves, the setups in the system at the administrative level, and see what SRVs and what NPIs the data entry folks have available to them and make sure they match what we have here.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to open another tab. You do not, I'm going to say use your services page for this, okay? But
Okay.
the way to double check it for reporting is in the admin menus. Eva, I know this is all brand new, so just listen and don't worry. We're going to help. We're going to help, okay? So So looking at the programs, so for instance, in emergency food program, right? Excellent. The service templates that are available in here. Okay, I'm not quite sure about that one, but these are the SRVs you're doing.
So this is what I want to say. Under emergency, we have an issue with the way that our reporting is set up. We have the old version, which is emergency assistance. And then we have the new, which are the SRVs. So something that I encounter a lot with our agencies is that I have to tell them all the time not to enter the information only under emergency assistance, because that information is not being captured by the state.
That is correct.
How do we get rid of that?
We need to take it off the program, which does not take it out of the history. And we need to only have the options they can use. Also, then they have to do double entry, right? Food
Yes.
pantry, food,
And
food, you know, independent living, whatever.
I had to tell them, like, it has to be based on the SRV. I've had this conversation with a bunch of them, and it doesn't always click. So
And what Steve at Mercer is doing, Mercer County, is he has me train the agencies, and we also went through a tune-up and we got rid of this stuff.
okay.
Now, if you've got data in the system under here,
Yeah,
we can do some service mapping.
we're
So that
gonna.
it will, in fact, food pantry will equate to food distribution. But in the final effect, you don't want somebody doing double entry.
Yeah.
So this is better, but we can help with that, but not today. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Just because of a time limitation.
Yeah.
Okay? I want to get you to where you need to be. So they've got incentives, food, life skills, okay, and case management. So I have looked, presumably those are on your service plan, but if not, you can find them in every program. Okay. And so I would say, if I were guessing, by the way, I'd have said, yep, food distribution, blah, blah, blah. Right? So we're going to go on. We're going to go right past housing for now, but we're going to come back to it. And we're going to go to incentives, food distribution, and life skills coaching session. Give me a second. I'm just missing it. Give me a second because it's got to be here, or it wouldn't be in the SRD dropdown. It's not here.
Life skills coaching sessions.
Are they really doing that in food?
That's a good question.
However, for now, again, I want to get you to your deadline.
Yeah.
So if you didn't find something in here for now, it might just be skills classes, and that's where it's going to refer. So I'm going to put that in there.
Okay.
Okay.
Because
We've
that
got that.
makes sense with nutrition. So
Yeah, and that's what I'm guessing. So I'm not going to go look at the rent program here. If I were doing a full on, I need to report against this, I need to make sure it matches, I would do that. In this case, though, I happen to have pretty high level of confidence. You guys do mortgages as well as rent?
one of the agencies does mortgage.
So we put it on there, deposit payments, and you also do utility payments, utility arrears, like you pay back bills, right? Do that one. Do you do deposits for utilities if somebody's moving in, or only security deposits?
Only security deposits.
Then we leave that one off. Okay. So again, I'm going to come back, and this time now I'm going to go back to the CAP plan, because we're not going to actually go into each program. We're going to do our best guess for these. I'm going to say 2023. Yep. See, that's where I was last, so it remembered it. So now in emergency services, right? Forgive me. I mixed
okay.
up my tabs. I'm right where I need to be.
Yeah, I thought so.
More tea. Okay, so the actual services that are being done in the programs go here. And again,
Okay.
for purposes of meeting your deadline, give it your best shot, but you're not going to be pulling data against it until January,
Okay.
because this is for the upcoming year. There is time
Yes.
to get this perfect. And
Okay.
in fact, there's time to tune them up, because the data that's going to come in to report beginning in the next year, they won't start recording that data till October 1st. So if at that point is when it's going to be really important to be sure it all matches up, right? Because then the reporting is seamless. Okay. You've already got from the last CAP plan some outcomes here that you would be tracking. Again, I might be looking at the program setup, the
Mhm.
services they have, and the outcomes they have. But getting housing, avoiding eviction, I really question that, but New Jersey's using it that way. This one is at the federal level. This is supposed to be somehow the home has been made more energy efficient or reduced, but they're using it this way, so just do it. Your
Okay.
job here is to say, last year you said the target was 29 people would obtain housing, 29 people would avoid eviction. If one agency is doing mortgages, I want to add avoided foreclosure.
Okay.
And then you need to update your targets. Is this big enough for you guys to see, by the way? You
Yeah.
okay?
So just like, I just want to add with the way that our CSBG grant works is we do an RFP that dictates the funding, and the RFP dictates the funding for 3 years. So
Okay.
whatever we had for last year that's currently in there will be the same for 2023. It's just
Okay.
we're gonna have to add in the individuals that, like, how mortgage wasn't in there. Well, that we'll have to add
Okay.
in. But yeah.
And if that's how you guys do it, that is just fine. Most agencies would look and say, how many did we do this year versus last year? It might be that it's not 29 across the board. Maybe it's 29 of these and 15 of these, right?
Because
Maybe
what
last year.
we just renew, so we, like, it's considered like a subcontract renewal. So whatever
Right.
we put in for 2022 is what
And do you put the expected outcomes or just the services in the contract?
in this, the outcomes are in the subcontracts.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Again,
That's
I
how, yeah.
understand it, but the outcomes are going to vary wildly year to year, because some
Yeah.
people need more rent, some need less, then you run out of
Oh,
money.
yeah. And that's when we end up doing, like, we'll end up doing a shift if they have to, if they have money left. And
Right.
if
But-
they had too much money in security deposit assistance, we can do a shift moving it into rental assistance. So,
Right. And at that point, that would change this. So this really isn't about contract. It's really about what you think you're going to
What we
be
think.
reporting against.
okay.
Now,
All
you
right.
can leave it there, but you're going to get questions. New Jersey's starting to get them, just like that one they had to send out with the CARES, all the spreadsheet things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They get questions. If you are more than 20%, 10%, I forget which, off your target, they have to explain why. So then you have to explain why. Like, oh, well, we did fewer people here because the rent events were higher and didn't work that way. And that's great. But each year we're supposed to get better at targeting,
Okay.
knowing what we have. So you can absolutely put anything in here that suits you. And for now, I would say just leave it and add the ones that aren't there. But you just may want to think about it going forward, or recognize that now that they're starting to monitor to that, because that's what the feds monitor to, it may come up more. Okay. Obviously, everything that you guys are doing is CSBG funded. So the answer is just yes. You guys, this is a Maine special, the state of Maine. You do not have to indicate your funding amount.
Okay.
You just say yes.
Okay.
Okay. With the exception of the mortgage target.
You know what? Lil, I'm sorry. We
No, go ahead.
actually under CSC, I manage about 6, 7 different grants, and CSBG is one of them. We do not offer mortgage assistance under CSBG. That is under another program that we have.
No
That's under
problem.
our Emergency Solutions Grant, our ESG grant.
Gotcha.
So
Right. Well, in that case,
sorry about that.
duh, there's no sorry in EmpowOR. I think I've said that 3 times today. You just take it out.
Okay.
Oh, Lordy. Please, just ignore that. That was a CSBG reporter hiccup thing. Okay, so we are going to take out the service of mortgage payments. That's exactly what you're going to do for every program.
Okay.
So I'm going to do the programs with you right now, mapping your programs to it. Then you
Okay.
are going to fill in the appropriate needs.
Uh-huh.
You're going to check the SRVs that you're doing.
Okay.
You're going to do your outcome indicators and your targets, and you're going to check yes for CSBG funded, and then you will be done.
Great.
If you have the service pages in hand, this is probably an hour's work.
Yeah, I have them right here. So
Well, depending on how fast we go, we'll see. So emergency shelter, obviously,
okay.
emergency shelter is in fact the program we want to add.
Yes.
Right? Now, if there was something else, which I don't think it is, right? Is transitional housing part of emergency shelter?
We don't offer any transitional housing.
Okay,
We
it's
don't
set up
fund-
in EmpowOR, but that's no problem because if no
Yeah.
one's reporting data, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to just do emergency shelter. And under emergency shelter, the need is they're not at risk of eviction. Emergency shelter is they actually are homeless, right?
Yes. So I think what the language that we have in our plan is, let me see. Homeless individuals need emergency shelter.
Excellent. This is when I really want to turn on my voice stuff, but I know how badly it works in my texting, but it's like, I could just say that. I feel like the Star Trek guy, computer. Homeless individuals need emergency shelter. Did I get that right?
Yep.
And I need to warn you, something that happened to Carly yesterday in Florida is happening right now in Virginia. A thunderstorm cell has just moved in over me, and it is starting to rumble. If I disappear, I will come back on my hotspot unless I completely lose power, in which case all bets are off. Right? But the recording would stop them, but Carly would post it and he would show you where to get it. Because she's the co-host, which means you wouldn't lose the meeting. But if I don't come back, it just means I'm dead power loss.
Okay.
So homeless individuals need emergency shelter. Excellent. We need to give them shelter. And so we say, great. And the service, this is really easy one. It is annoying, and I'm on the big screen, so I have to go over and jiggle my things. So in the housing services, it is not transitional. It is, in fact, temporary housing placement, including emergency shelter.
Yes.
That one's a gift.
And I recognize that SRV.
Yes, I would expect. I must have clicked add harder than I expected to. Okay. Right. And these are the outcomes I would expect to see.
Okay.
And especially if they're tracking for 90 days, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, that said, this is intended to be in regular housing, but if there's 90-day stays or something, then they can absolutely track it for the shelter.
Yes.
Okay. And if you had something else, you could put it in there. It is CSBG funded. We don't worry about the amount. You guys already have your descriptions in. So cool. Okay. And it's saving every step of the way.
That's great.
There is no save button as such. It's just saving.
Okay.
All right. So temporary housing placement, we got that. Now we're going to speed up a little bit. We're just going to map the program. And we're going to make sure, because I see more stuff down here that I want to look at.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you've got employment services.
Yep.
Is the supports counseling part of employment?
No.
And do you do these things?
Yes. So
Okay.
well, the one Trinitas is not going to, that as of right now, that's not going to be a thing anymore.
Okay.
So,
All right, so we've got employment services. Y'all will do the need. You'll do whatever services they do, resume development, whatever. They'll all be in group 2.
okay.
Okay. And they've got NPIs, obtained employment up to a wage, employed employment, living wage or higher, who obtained and maintained 90 days. Great outcomes, right? CSPG, I'll just go ahead and say yes as I go past it.
Mhm.
Health supports.
Yes.
So we're not going to do Trinitas, but is health supports also family supports counseling as well as healthcare?
Let's see, this is where, so we have families, the way that we have it on our services pages is that we have where did it, family supports, we have case management.
Mhm.
So like the one agency Proceed, they do family supports through
Mhm.
case management, but they don't do counseling.
Well, what I'm guessing though, because these are the names of the programs in Empower.
Yes.
So for this one, let's go take a quick look at that program. It's going to be quite an exciting little thunderstorm. Okay, so
It's coming our way.
Yep, exactly. I'm in the
Tomorrow.
mountains of Southwest Virginia.
Okay.
So family supports type has all of those in it. Okay, so all of those programs, I'm just gonna say they do belong in the same one for reporting purposes
Okay.
because they all share, again, these
Yes.
versus these. Now, healthcare is an SRV. If they're actually doing healthcare sessions with people.
Not, we used to have an agency that did that. That's no
Okay.
longer funded.
Okay. So we want UCFS program
Yes.
because it's got the same services, and we want the family supports healthcare, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. You guys still hear me?
Yes.
Maybe I didn't click add hard enough this time. Okay. Add your need, add the services that they do. Again, it's going to be the detox, all the stuff that we just saw. It's in your plan, I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if they're doing case management, though, you said, right?
Yeah.
I want to go ahead and add this for you in the program. They're going to see it in the drop down. But there is the case management
Yeah.
right there. My eye went past it for a second. I'm like, why am I not seeing it? So this is now available to them, and I would encourage them to use it because then you can document the case management.
Okay.
Okay. So in the SRVs, you would tick those, but I would say also choose that case because you have a target for case management, I'm assuming, in your service plans.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I thought. So, and again, now, unlike before though, and since we're here, let me just go ahead and go back up to health. Detox, substance abuse counseling.
I feel like detox is not what we do not provide detox services.
Is it really more substance abuse counseling and mental health counseling?
It's mental health and or behavioral health counseling. That's
okay.
Yeah. So the detox was Trinitas, but because we are not involved, we have deobligated them from their funds.
But in that case, I would say it's going to pretty much be, there is no behavioral health as part of the SRVs. There probably should be, and it's a good suggestion to the fence. But if they're doing some work in substance abuse, I would tell them to use that when it's a substance related issue of any kind, and mental health, everything else.
All right.
Behavioral or otherwise. Do your needs. We duplicated every one of them. We'll see how easy it is to fix it though. And if they're duped up, it's okay. Right? And the outcome, they have mental and behavioral health and well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Is it about disabilities maintaining independent and chronic
that-
illness?
The disabilities, we don't, they're not, it's for 2023, they're not funded anymore.
Okay, and the chronic illness who maintained independent living also gone?
That's,
You can leave it in and take it out later. It's okay.
we can, well, why don't we leave it in? But like, I think that's something, oh no, that's with Jewish Family Services. So yeah, but we have that underneath independent living.
All right, which we need to do because, whoops, there isn't transitional housing. We actually just need to take that out. Do we have independent living though in here? No, we do not. So you want me to put, hang on, I know I'm going to make you dizzy with the screen. Just don't
That's
worry
okay.
about it for a second. So do we need to add the independent living? Let's look at the program for a second. You don't have an independent living program.
They're
set up in
under
the past.
independent living. Yeah,
So they're not recording it, whatever they may have. They don't even have a program to record it against. So they may be using the family supports.
I think that they might be now
Okay,
that
so
you say that.
we'll keep it there.
Okay.
So energy assistance up. We're done with emergency shelter. You're going to finish employment services with your needs. Health supports, right? It's in here,
Yes.
okay? And they're using it, so that's great. Just put the outcomes, that belong there. That's fine. And of course, it is CSBG funded. So you're just going to finish tuning that up. You're going to add
Okay.
your appropriate needs. Now, the transitional housing is not happening, right?
Yeah, I don't.
That's okay. In order to remove a program from the list, you have to take out the outcomes first. It won't let us remove any program that has outcomes in it.
Okay.
So we're going to take out the outcome. Yes, I'm quite sure I want to.
Yeah, because I think temporary shelter, those are the only outcomes that were underneath there.
Right. And
You know,
transitional housing really is different, right, from homeless
Yes.
shelter, and you're already recording that. Okay, so now I'm going to jump back to the top, and now that the outcomes are gone from that, here's the note about only programs with no outcomes can be removed. I'm going to remove transitional housing from the plan. It doesn't need to be there. Okay. So now if I look at the list of the groups of programs, right, the blue
Yes.
line being kind of the groupings, we have emergency assistance, emergency shelter, employment, and health supports.
mhm.
That sounds correct.
The only thing we're missing is information and referral.
Okay. So we need a new ribbon for INR. Okay. So I'm going to add a new program.
Okay.
This is not adding it in EmpowOR, it's adding it to the CAP plan because we are
Okay.
on the CAP plan page.
Yes.
And this is going to be, do you use and or do you use an ampersand?
It's both. I prefer the ampersand, but that's
I'm
just
just,
me.
because it's on here and it doesn't actually show up, I'm just going to do that.
That sounds good.
We're going to insert it. We're going to navigate to it. And now I'm going to say, pick the INR program, add it. You're
Okay.
going to put the need for information and referral. You're going to pick the
Uh-huh.
services that are there. And
Okay.
because we have a few more minutes, let's look at INR in the program setup. Okay. The services that are set up for them to do. Referrals, nursing care sessions. I don't think this belongs in information and referral, does it?
So no, because the information and referral is it's for individuals with chronic illness that need to maintain their living situation independently. Well, no, it's independent living. Sorry. Don't
Yeah, it's not,
ignore me.
it's perfectly okay, but it's
That's
not
not-
independent living. It is in
It's-
fact just referrals here.
Yeah, because
Why?
it's service counts.
Right.
That's
Why can't I? Oh, there it is, because it's off the site. I'm going to take this off their work templates. They just shouldn't even be able to add these.
Yeah,
That's under healthcare, right?
yeah.
Okay, or independent living. All right. So referrals. That's the service. There are no outcomes from referrals. This is your own internal outcome. It does not get reported. There is no outcome for referrals. It's a
Yeah,
count.
I have that in my services pages.
Excellent. Yep, I thought so.
It's
So-
just like we also had for emergency food, it said this service has no outcome.
That is correct.
Okay.
In CSBG, enrollment and outcome terms, right? Not, oops, I forgot it, reordered them for alpha. At least I think it did. In CSBG terms, you give people food, and it's critically important, right? It's a service that's life and death.
Yes.
But we don't know if they're less hungry. We don't know if they ate the food. We don't go ask them if they experience less. So we report that we gave them food and we hope to God it helped them, right? But there's no outcome like pay rent, avoid eviction.
So it's like not like just like referrals, you can't, it doesn't have anything measured that you can show that you did this. Whereas like it's sort of like how in some of our other grants, we think of things in terms of cash assistance. So like, even though food is technically cash assistance, but like rental assistance, security deposit assistance, mortgage assistance, that's like that's like the cash assistance. Whereas like case management, you can track too, because there is an outcome, but you can't
there's an
track.
outcome for improved your well-being and
Yes.
improved your life and all those.
Yes.
And you know, as a monitor, your question to them is, how do you know that the service helped improve it? And they say, our pre and post test, our case notes, our. And you go,
Yes.
great, thank you so much, keep going. Okay. So for this one, referrals are, I've selected as the service. There is no outcome, right? Because if you look at the ones for 7, which is the service it's in, it's just this, and you don't have to track that, because it's not an outcome for here, but the system will tell you in reporting. Oh, for God's sake, Stan. Meeting previous to this was with him. He may be pushing some code because frankly, it's a very, very quiet day at many agencies, lots of people gone.
Yeah.
And so it's a good day for them to be doing some stuff on the fly. It's not affecting as many users as it would normally. Okay, so let's just make sure that my change took. They're going to put what the need is. People don't know where to get, services. We make referrals, we record it. There is no outcome. Yep, we fund it with CSBG dollars.
So my question with INR, so we also, the way that we do this is with our spending plan is like, we use that as a way to track dollars and services because the dollars are tied with the services. And in our spending plan, we have, it's called linkages / service counts, information and referral follow-up. So do we have to input anything about linkages in there or?
That is a different part of the reporting.
Because that's more internal. So the agencies don't provide, the linkages are more, we have because some of our salaries are funded out of CSBG as a whole. So like it gets reported into EmpowOR, but not.
There's no service or outcome because this is all stuff for the client. So that's financial reporting.
Okay.
And it lives there.
Okay, that's fine.
And that is a good thing.
Yeah.
There are agencies that sometimes track, support things, and they create programs so that they can do it in EmpowOR, but it doesn't report. So because agencies can track anything they want, CSBG or otherwise, in EmpowOR. And unlike a private nonprofit, you guys are literally only going to report CSBG because that's all you do. It doesn't want to know everything the county does. But when, say, the Jewish Foundation, right, or Burlington, or any of the privates report, they have to say everything they do, which is why this is here, whether or not CSBG touches it.
Okay.
Public caps don't do that. CSBG is one of the only funding streams because it's intended to help agencies get other funding to address dire needs, because CSBG
Mhm.
alone doesn't fix poverty, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the reasoning behind it.
Okay.
That's why you have to select it, even though all of yours are a hard yes. Okay. So
Yeah.
are you able to open EmpowOR, or do you have it open?
Oh,
you
I
do.
have it. I have it open.
Can you open the CAP plan? I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to
Okay.
ask you to share, and then I'm going to show you all a few things, and even particularly where to sort of start getting used to EmpowOR and where you could start learning. Are you more of a document person, Eva, or more of a video person for learning? Some
It
of
could be
each.
both.
Okay. Very cool. Okay, so if you would, please, Nicole, go ahead and share. And I think I did fix it. Yes, it lets everybody share now. If you would share your screen and pull up the CAP plan, please.
Okay. Oh, you need to stop sharing in order for me to share.
So sorry.
That's okay. Okay.
Awesome. Perfect. Go ahead
So
and hit the show NPIs, FNPIs.
this.
That's how you open it. Okay.
Okay.
Because community NPIs are for agencies like looking at building new homeless shelters or starting new bus lines, right? It's a community level service. It isn't how many people got how much stuff. And so for you guys in particular, and for almost everybody in New Jersey, it's going to be the FNPIs, the Family National Performance Indicators, as opposed to the Community National Performance Indicators.
Got it.
Okay. So you're just going to go in now and fill in the blanks. We got through most of it.
Okay. So
Double check your targets, double check your needs. The couple that we didn't do services for,
let's
put them in.
see. So we did all of emergency assistance.
We did. It was the first one.
Yeah.
And then
Emergency shelter. We did.
I think we actually got the whole thing done. Keep going.
We did the need.
We did
and
the
then
service.
targets,
we did the outcomes. We did CSBG. It's finished.
Employment services.
You
Okay.
need to add the
Insert.
needs.
Insert a need. So,
And what you're going to do is you're going to leave it on insert a need.
Okay.
Go ahead and we'll walk you through this one.
And then
you're going
add.
to hit add, and then you're going to type in your need. Okay. And you can copy and paste it right in. And if you scroll down on the outside toolbar.
Yeah. Let me move my. Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's going to look like I'm not looking at you, but
Oh,
it's
you're
because
fine.
I have two monitors. Okay. So let me. So this is for employment, and what we have is individuals need to secure employment to prevent homelessness, and individuals need assistance with seeking a job and job preparation.
So you do two needs. You can paste
Okay,
the one in first, then you save, then you paste the other one in, you save, and you go and pick them. There you go. Now go ahead.
And then
hang on, don't add it. Just watch. It should. Go ahead and drop it down.
And that's just the appetizer.
There it is. Yep.
Add.
And then add.
Okay, and then
You
I'll
do the
add
other.
another one, and it will be the other. Okay, this is actually, I'm really happy we took the time to do this because I was very confused, and now this makes a lot more sense now. So
okay, so in employment services, you need to pick out the ones you're really doing. Referrals may well be part of it. I would imagine it is. But you need to pick out the actual employment. Oh, sorry, it jumped you down, didn't it?
So wait, no. So I should really go look at what we currently have.
That would be the very best. Now, do me a favor. I'm going to teach you a different trick. Don't click it.
Okay.
Go up to your browser tab, your actual browser tab.
Yes.
On the one with EmpowOR.
Yes.
Right click it and hit duplicate. Oops.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I do that all the time. Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
Let me scroll back down here. Scroll back down to employment, and then I can go in here and then admin, program info, manage programs,
and then
program,
look at employment.
and then look at employment. And then outcomes
and services.
and services. So
I'd
here,
start with services because that's where you are.
services.
So
And
they are
then-
doing employment services of career coaching and job placement.
and job placement. So then I can
Okay,
go
so
back here.
Exactly
And
right.
let's see, it's in SRV 1.
Mhm.
So so coaching, right?
Go back up to your thing if you would.
Career
Thank you. You knew what I
coaching.
meant. It's career coaching specifically. Hang on. That's post. It should have the full ones and it doesn't. Check the 1H.
Okay.
And now check 1I as well. I just don't want to take a chance on this. Okay. And then the other one was what, job placement?
Yes.
Okay. And then you say,
Yes.
Adam,
Okay, add.
you've got it. Oops. Hey, it
Okay.
worked. There you go. You've got your NPIs there and you've got your targets.
Okay, and then it's the health. So
You're going to add the need.
we're at 1 o'clock, so I don't want to, you know.
I don't have a abs, I don't think. Let me double check that. That was probably going to make a face at me. No, I do not have a hard stop. I've got a call in a few minutes, but I have time. So
Okay.
let's just wrap this and I want to show you some help stuff.
Okay,
Okay.
so the need, what we have is family needs mental and behavioral health counseling to maintain their quality of life.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
Exactly right. Mhm.
It's that button because it's
Yeah.
in the, it's,
You just say
there it
save.
is. You know, the screen sharing was over, you
Oh,
know, when it
over
goes
it.
over.
I know. I have to move my Zoom stuff around all the time. I sympathize.
Okay, and then that has all the stuff. We have
Okay.
this, okay. And then
Mhm.
it's the information and referral. You know, we do have something else called community decision making. Does that have to be added?
Tell me
That's
what
like,
it is.
so community decision making is like, it's with it, the way that we calculate it is based off of like the meetings that we have, where people, because we have our CEAS meetings and our CEAS meetings always have an informational component to it. So it has like a training. We had somebody talk about the eviction moratorium. We had somebody talk about tenant and legal rights. So
Right. Okay. So what you're talking about could be considered a community level program because you're not going to record. It's not client services, right? You're doing
Yeah.
stuff, but it's with partners and it's creating bridges. So no, at the moment, you would not put it here.
okay.
That said, I'm going to suggest you not do it till you talk it over further with the state because they're not, the community piece they're working with a little differently.
Okay.
At the moment, and an initiative has to have some outcomes you're planning as opposed to everybody's on page with what's happening in the county. But it's like, are you coordinating it? You may or may not. You may want to get into that and get credit for that work. You may, but you also may not.
Okay.
Because it would mean entering it and it would mean tracking it and it would, you already know the number of meetings, you can add them to your report. Okay.
Okay.
So think about it for the future potentially, but you would not put it here because again, it's not a service with an outcome.
Okay.
But good question.
Just so back to this, I would remove, because this is not securing employment. That's not
Right.
That's
No,
not,
I think I added this when I thought I was on the wrong tab.
that's okay.
So what is your need here? It's people need information. You've got something in your assessment, I'm sure.
Yeah, information, individuals need access to available services. Okay.
Awesome.
And then that's the indicator.
There's no indicator for it.
There's no indicator. So do I still select
Nope.
this?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Just leave it
All
off.
right.
Now just hit back.
Back. Okay.
Dan's just got something going on. Bless his pointy little hand.
Okay. So then that means we did everything.
We did.
Wow.
I would double check it with a fresh pair of eyes, later before you tell Scott it's in. Now,
Wow.
there is no.
Thank you.
You're
This
welcome.
is like, I've been in this position for a little more than a year, and I figured out some of the other stuff with EmpowOR, like doing the TA with our providers. But this is like, my eyes are wide open now. This makes a lot of sense. So
Good.
this is what I need. This is what I needed. Scott was right. He was like, Lil is going to help you. Don't worry. And I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. But we need to set up, even if we can figure out, we have money to pay for it to set up a training. We need to do the 2 90-minute sessions, because I think this is going to help me. It's going to help Eva. It's going to help my director, my assistant director. So, wow, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see what he can do. We'll ask him about hours when I tell him where he is and whether he wants to do, because they don't usually do like 3 to 4 hours, but he may be changing his mind, right? They canceled we have a monthly meeting with UCA, and they had to cancel yesterday because somebody was out. I don't know which one of them it was, but so we didn't get to talk about it. He might have been going to tell me, add a new block of hours and I'm going to use them this way, right? It might have been that. So either way, we'll do it, just so you know, so you don't get surprised. If we do it in 10-hour blocks of TA.
Okay.
And then you use them when you want them.
And what's the cost?
It's $195 an hour, so 19.
Okay. That's just so I can have that information.
That's what I was going to say. Let me let you know that we don't advertise that we do it, frankly, because it's like when people need it, they need it. We let you know we will. But you can do everything in EmpowOR that I can do in EmpowOR. Quite literally, there's nothing locked off from administrators. Okay.
Yeah.
The question is do you know it's there, and do you know how to do it? Right. So that's I will say that Scott, again at Mercer, he's the public agency I've worked with the most. He has had me do some training for his grantees because he is really not a computer guy. But what he's also done is just keep hours that he can say, hey, I need to be walked through this next report.
Yeah.
Get on with me and let's do it.
Because I definitely need that about module 2, module 4. I get very confused because.
Well, and I think it might be worthwhile for us to do full admin training and full reporting training as well, which would be another sort of set. It would fall within 10 hours though. It would be a set, and then we record them just like we recorded this. And then we post it. So if you would, for me, before we hang up, go ahead and scroll to the top, please, and go to the help page if you'd be so kind.
That's is it?
Nope, keep going all the way over to Professor Orick's pointy little head, all the way to the right.
This guy.
He's
so cute. He's really cute.
He's precious. He's our otter, OR for outcomes and results. That's why EmpowOR is misspelled in some people's eyes. It's outcomes and results. I think a cocktail napkin was involved. Anyway, you can see here, and this is the help documentation. 85 different things in there. Go up to the topics if you would. And even this is what I started to show earlier, but you can choose what you want information on and then hit search, or you can just browse through stuff.
Okay, so I can do like
recorded webinars, you'll find training videos, you'll find documents.
Okay, so I can do like this, like CSBG reporter, add an administrator. Oh,
and guess what? We're developing that document.
Okay.
Yes, you could if there was any in there.
I know.
We're actually trying very hard to do that. Part of it's it's time. It's what it is. It's a time constraint, but it's really good for basic data entry and for administrator training. And it links in there. You'll find one of those resources that pops up is actually a link to our YouTube playlist. And there's like 20 videos in the data entry, and they range from like 4 to 20 minutes. And there's, I think, 15 or 16 in the administrator playlist. And you just keep going till you find a video, right?
Is that like the plug-in? Oh, the video. So the EmpowOR admin webinars.
That's an admin webinar that was recorded.
Okay.
Go ahead and go to the next page if you would.
Okay.
Scroll and EmpowOR forms. Go to the third page if you would. Well, it's not here for admin.
Oh, yeah, it's not listed under admin. I think that if you just don't select an audience.
There we go.
Yeah,
And there is a playlist for data entry, and there is a playlist. There is.
go to the second page.
Oh, Carly, you're a genius. Thank you.
And I think it's that one, right?
There we go. Data entry from beginning to end, 20 videos.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a similar one for admins. If you go up and select topic administrator, what that does is, go ahead and click on that one. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
No, not the audience. Definitely not the audience.
this one, the administrator
Go
focus.
up one more. What it's going to do is take you to, straight to YouTube.
Perfect. Okay.
And there is another one. Just go ahead and go on back. Okay. There's another one. If you go up and change data entry to administrator in your topic.
In the top. An administrator.
Is it, try admin tools. See if,
Admin tools.
I'm so sorry. That depends on what we've tagged it with, and
That's okay.
we're
Oh, okay.
and no more. All right. We will go in and tag it, and it'll be here too. But there's an administrator's playlist. It's the same thing.
Okay.
The last thing I'm going to show you. Scroll down just a little bit more, please.
Yeah.
This is where we store your recordings. So this is where this one will be.
Okay.
Okay. These are where I store the New Jersey. I make sure every agency in New Jersey, after I do a statewide session on CAP plans or module 2 or whatever it is, I put them in every agency's custom documentation. So you can use them at any time right through EmpowOR. And
So this was there the whole time.
Yes, actually, you had questions that I don't think those would have answered. So
okay.
You're
just being nice. I don't know.
No. You are high functioning. Carly's been with me on some of these. Trust me, you're a pleasure. And
thank you.
You're welcome, but it's fun. This is what I love to do. I love to help agencies one-to-one do what they do better. It's fun. It's very satisfying, right? Just like your agencies are helping people in the community and you're helping your agencies.
Yeah.
Right. Our motto is we help the helpers. That's
I have to tell you, this was it was very empowering, no pun intended, but I learn better this way, like watching and then having somebody watch me do it, like to make sure I'm doing it the right way. So thank you.
Modality for training. You're welcome. That's how we do. I do data and administrator training as I show, and you work with me. And we tape it. Well, listen to me. We record it. And we go from there, right? And you have it. And so I think the ability to go back and do that, but I think hands-on, watching, doing, and then being able to review it, I think it's really important.
Yeah, this like really, I had a feeling it might not be that difficult, but I didn't think it was going to be this easy. So, and
that lets you go into the long weekend, hopefully, with
yeah.
a lighter load.
Oh, I can't wait to tell everyone here that it's done, because I'm like, the CAP plan, I don't know how to do it. What do we do?
It's essentially done now. You may put a couple of things in. You may change some stuff up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through this, so at least I have something to start. Thank you.
And you've made welcome, but you've met the deadline. And by the way, you can just email Scott and tell him it's in. There is no submit button for that because it's a living document for changes. So you can just email him and say, hey, we're done.
Well, I may, because usually we're the tardy to the party group over here, because we're like more of a government agency, you know, so and we're usually behind.
That is the case with the others. Here's the question for you. Would you like us to arrange for a sales order to come to you for 10 hours? Or do you want to check with Scott and see what he'll do first?
I'd like to know what with Scott first, but would I be able to get what I would need from my end, I would need a quote. So if I could get a quote for the 10 hours, so then we can have, I just need like an invoice quote, because then I can start a purchase order off of that. Cause I think whether he has the time or not, we should still.
He can give you some, but then you've got a bank. We ask people to try to use them within a year, but they don't actually have a sell by date, right?
Okay.
We have to pull from it last a year because people tend to forget, and then it's like we feel badly.
And we can use CARES dollars, I know, for
We can.
this. So,
And if it goes, and I'm not trying to sell you up, by the way, because I don't have a lot of time anyway, and I am going to jump. But at 20 hours, there's a 20%.
Yeah.
okay. So who would I have to contact? Who would?
You don't have to contact anybody. Carly's already on it.
Okay. Yeah, Carly, if you can send me a quote one quote for 10 hours and then a quote for 20 hours, just so.
Okay. And it's gonna come from our sales person.
Okay.
Just coordinator, Mary.
It'll come from Marielle, but I'm letting her know
An
now.
opportunity.
Okay.
Email quote, not a sales order quote, just an email quote for TA only.
Yeah, email for TA for 10 hours and 20 hours, right, Nicole?
Yep, that would
Okay,
be great.
Perfect.
Wow.
Perfect. Then you can have it. So you guys, I hope you both have a great long weekend.
Yes.
Eva,
You
Thank
too.
you. Thank you.
thank you. Actually, I'm
You
working
too.
Monday my choice, and it's going to be a very quiet
It's so
day.
quiet.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited. It's like I can get to all the stuff I haven't.
I know.
Take care,
Well,
gang. I'm
thank
glad
you.
it was
Thank you
helpful.
so much. Thank you both. It was
Thank you.
wonderful.